Hey everybody, it's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. I want to welcome back the longtime subscribers such as Sheila Hamilton and Ozzy Morrison. Thanks so much for the comments that you leave down below. I also want to welcome in the new subscribers like Star Bryson from Flippin' Hippos, and I want to welcome in Emily Riley, the newest subscriber. I hope that you enjoy the content that you're going to see in these videos, so thanks a lot for signing up and coming in to check it out. What I'm going to do today is focus on the results of a recent haul that I did at a local family business of a person that invest a lot of money into comic books and all sorts of collectibles. So not just comics, but collectibles that are related to comic books, but also other things that are vintage kind of pop culture items. And so by developing a friendship and networking with this individual, I have been permitted access to some private rooms that are in this facility that general members of the public don't have access to. And so if you follow my Facebook page, the Reselling Resource Center, the link is down below, or if you follow me at my Instagram account at Primetime Treasure, you'll have seen that this week I posted a picture of what one of these rooms looks like on the inside, and it's absolutely just overwhelming in terms of the amount of volume that's there in terms of collectibles and comic books. And that's just one snippet of the room, and there's many other rooms that didn't even show in the picture. So I basically go there once a month, and I just have different strategies each time. I just hit up different rooms and look in different spots I haven't explored before, and find different things each time. Sometimes I come out with tons of comic books. Sometimes I come up with other things that aren't related to comic books. This time I got a few comic books, but I want to show you some other items that I got that are not comic books, at least to start out, and show you some of the posters that I got and focus with you on learning some important characters and titles that you should be on the lookout for when you're out for garage sailing or estate sailing, because you can also find these things there. Because you need to be aware of these things, because you might pass up things of value if you don't know what they are. And it doesn't matter if you don't like comic books, or if you don't like pop culture items, if you don't have any interest in that, that really doesn't matter. Because really, personally, I don't have a big interest in clothes and name brand clothes and things like that. But I do realize that they have value to them, and spent a lot of time over the last year or two learning about different name brand clothes from people like Rockstar Flipper, Rake and Profit, and other individuals on YouTube, and that has helped me source these items and sell them. I'm selling clothes now on a regular basis. Never thought that would be something I would do, but it's been really helpful for when I go to a sale and I think there's going to be collectibles and they're either overpriced or damaged. I didn't turn to the clothing that's there, and I walk away and I do really well. So that's the purpose of me doing this video, is if you don't know anything about this stuff, is to teach you about some things that you should be on the lookout for. And if you do know about these things, I think you'll still be amazed at some of the things I found. And let me start off with one of what I think is one of the most amazing things that I found, which is a set of 16 Return of the Jedi bookmarks from 1983. The dates of these are on the back, so I'm just going to bring this right up here so you can see it. In general, if you could find Star Wars related items from the 1980s, early 1980s, or the 1970s, you should really pick it up, as long as you get it for a decent price. I mean, it's such a good value that and such a good chance that you're going to get profit off of it. I mean, even things like book club edition books, which I generally tell people to avoid. I just recently purchased and it's in one of my recent haul videos, a Star Wars 1976 book club edition hardcover book. Had the dust jacket on it. It had damage to the dust jacket. There was some rips on it. There were some stains on it and things like that. I bought it for $1. It sold for $35. Okay, so that just gives you an idea, and it's shipped out media mail, so it was like $2.66 to mail it. So that gives you a sense of the value of these sorts of things. I mean, just this bookmark right here that I'm going to show you. Let's see if I could find it. This one right here. This is, everyone knows Yoda. Okay, now this bookmark alone, right now, look it up if you're watching this anytime close to when I made this video. Right now, someone just has that individual bookmark on eBay for $76 with one watcher on it, okay? No one has a set of these bookmarks up. Now, there's 16 total in here, so we've got, just real quick, we've got characters like Luke Skywalker, and you can see the condition of these are really, really good. I mean, we've got Darth Vader. You know, I'm not going to run through every character, but I'll just show you the pictures. You know, there's C-3PO. Just kind of go through here. Just going to get out of the glare. Got R2-D2. Got Chewie. Just keep running through. Just showed you the Yoda one. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Of course, there's Han Solo. Boba Fett. He'll show up later. I'm going to show you something else related to him. You know, you've got the some of these other guys here. Here's the Red Guard. There we go. Stormtroopers. Jabba the Hutt. So it's a whole set, 16 of them. Now, somebody recently had 12 of these and sold them for about $35. I think that person underpriced them. Now, again, this is a set of 16, so I think the sky's the limit on these. I got these for about $2. Okay, so I can't wait to put these up, and we'll see. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to price it at, but I can tell you I'm going to make a heck of a lot more than $2 on this, especially if one of them, the Yoda one, is priced at just individually at $76. And that one already has a watcher on it. I don't think that will sell for $76 individually, but it just gives you a sense of what the value of 16 of these might be. For example, I could probably put 16 of these up for, you know, a set of 16 up for $100, and might get that. So, you know, we'll see. I'm gonna have to just strategize it, and we'll figure it out. But again, sourcing it low is the key. So about $2 for this. Some of the other things that I got here, let's just stick with Star Wars for a second. I mentioned Boba Fett. Now, if you don't know anything about Boba Fett is one of the most popular characters in all of Star Wars, and people will do a lot and spend a lot of money just to get things associated with Boba Fett. And he basically has a jetpack, and he flies in the air in a jetpack, and it's like a mercenary type character. And this is a big giant poster of Boba Fett. And so, you know, I'm not sure exactly, I'm not going to tell you for every one of these what the prices are going to be per se, but I'm going to just tell you conservatively for most of these posters that I'm going to show you, somewhere in like the $15, $20 price range, but some can go much higher than that. Some of them could go for $30, $40, $60. So it really depends. Some even higher than that. And a few that I think are kind of in that range, I'll show you a little bit later. But if you ever see that character, Boba Fett, he's got the green uniform, the green face shield. Pick things up related to him because it'll probably give you a good return on your investment. And any kind of older Star Wars posters that you can find, like this. This is the Millennium Falcon. This is Han Solo's ship that he flies in. Anything like that, you know, pick up if they're in good condition, these types of posters. The thing about these posters and why they're such a good investment, if you could get them for $1 or $2, is that, or less, is that first you could see they're very, very easy to store. They don't take up a lot of space. They're super light. Shipping them is a piece of cake. All you do is take something like a magazine bag like this, and this would be a magazine backing board, and you just put the magazine backing board in here, right there, right in the sleeve, and then you would just take your poster, and you would put your poster in this sleeve like this, so it would just kind of slide in like that. And then what you would do is you would just sandwich it between two pieces of cardboard like this and just cut it to size. So you just kind of squeeze it in here and then just tape around the edges like that, put it in an envelope like this, mark do not bend on each side of it, and you're set. And your poster is going to get there just fine. It's not going to get damaged. I know because I ship them out all the time. So that's another advantage of shipping posters. They are cheap. They're going to go off first class. They're easy to store. And again, you get good return on your investment on them. So, you know, at most you're probably going to pay like $266 to ship these things out. Real simple. Okay, and there's one other Star Wars related item here, and I think it's the same one, and that brings up another point about getting these posters. So you see here, I have a duplicate. So what I'll do with these, with ones that I have duplicates of, is I'll just list one up, and then when that one sells, I'll just sell the other one as a sell similar. I do not put them up in big lots in terms of the same exact poster, because someone's not going to want to buy 2 of those posters. They're going to want to buy 1 of those posters. And I don't want to flood the market with the items, because that's going to decrease the value of my item. I want people to just think this is the last one, this is all that is the only one out there. That will get you a better price for the item. So that's why I do that. Some other things that, you know, if you find kind of like old Star Wars things like this was just something that was an old store display, and you could see right here, you just kind of open the back here and you flip this down like this, right? And so this would just be, you know, a little display that would sit up like this, like in a store. And this was something that advertised some items related to Frito-Lays and Doritos. And, you know, someone could buy this and they could slide whatever they want into here. People will spend good money on this. I mean, someone might spend like $20 for this piece of cardboard because they could, you know, put their name on it or something like that, or a picture of themselves, like at you know, at a Star Wars opening at a movie, and they like to know that like they have an original piece that was related to a store display. People spend a lot of money on store displays. So you got a store display, and you got stores, and you got food advertising on it too. So you cross all these different points, and that helps sell the item. So I don't know. I mean, $20 might be like, you know, might be somewhere where that could sell in terms of a price point. Some other things that I got that are kind of branching in away from Star Wars for a second, that are comic related but not quite solely comic books. You will see these sometimes at garage sales. These are what they call book and record sets. Okay, so these came out in the 70s, and what they basically were if you open it up inside, you're going to see what looks like a comic book. Now, it's not considered a comic book in the traditional sense, because there's a record in the back, and you know, you play the record. You want to look at the condition of these records. Often they're scratched up and damaged. This one is not. I mean, you can see this thing is in like incredible condition. I mean, there's not a scratch on it really. I mean, the colors really pop. You don't see any big wrinkles or stains or creases or indentations or things like that. That's what you're looking for. Now, even if this did have some damage to it, I'd still pick it up, because it is an older item. The book and record sets, people had these when they were kids, and they love to try to get them back and to you know, and to collect them. I've sold ones like this exact one that was pretty damaged and did pretty well with it. So so pick these up if you could find them. And sometimes what you'll do is you'll just find a few of them and you'll combine them together in a lot. And so, for example, one of the other ones that I found, and this is still in the original shrink wrap. This is a Spider-Man record. And it's 2 children's records that kind of came in here and told the story. And again, still in the original wrapping, never ever been opened. So, you know, with the wrapping removed, I think the comps on this were like somewhere between $10 or so, maybe $10, $11. But with the wrapping on it, with the original sealing on it, always look for that. If you have the original sealing, that's going to increase your value. So this might, you know, now instead of selling for $10, might sell for more like $15, $20. So, you know, or if you put them both up and for whatever reason individually they didn't sell, you can now combine them together and make a lot and increase the value for your buyers. That's why I often don't wind up taking things off of eBay that don't sell. I just combine them in ways that will then increase value for the buyers, and so I'll just wind up packaging it together, repackaging it in a different way. So that's you know, something to look for too, are those little record sets like that. Another thing to look for, I've actually, I've been doing comic books my whole life, never actually had this one before, but, just to kind of cue you in and sort of things you look for, you could just tell from this comic that it is just old and vintagey, and you could tell from the price up here, it says 35 cents, so that's, an older book. Now, most of the regular 35-cent books are ones that came out in the early 80s or in the late 70s, but this one happens to be a thicker comic book, and so that's why they wound up charging 35 cents for it back in, I believe this one is from 1968. Yes, it is. And what you want to do to find the ages of them, sometimes the ages will be on front, but often you'll see what's called the indica, which is down here. Sometimes it's on the first page, sometimes it's on the second page. There's sometimes where you have to flip a couple pages in modern books to find the date, or once in a while you actually have to flip to the back page to find the date. But that's generally where they'll be, and right on the bottom there, and you could see here, if I bring this up to the camera, that it's 1968. So anything with Spider-Man on it that's old, especially if it's in good shape like this, pick it up. You're generally going to at least get $10-$20 out of it. And you never know, you might wind up getting a key important issue that winds up having significantly more value to it. So that's another thing to look for. Now, you all know about Spider-Man. Even if you're not into comic books, you probably, or definitely also know about Batman. And what I like to pick up sometimes when I see these, even though they don't have a lot of value individually, you could combine them together into little lots and then you could sell them off. These are these very, very thin books. These came out also in like the 1970s, so this one is 1976, and they're just quick little books that tell little stories about a character that people could buy for real cheap back in the day. I think this one, I don't know what the price on this one was exactly, but obviously couldn't have cost a lot of money. And you can see it's in good shape. Again, nice shiny cover, no wrinkles, no staining, no rips, no tape. Those are all the kind of things you generally want to avoid unless it's a super, super old comic that's like 10 cents, 12 cents. Then still pick them up if they have damage to them because they're so rare that they still will hold value. So, but anything like this, I just like to pick them up. I might not sell this one individually, but might just hold on to it to combine it with something else. Now, this is one I'm going to show you is Batman, but it's a more modern book. But if you see anything that says Batman 66, pick it up. It's always worth something. It's a super, super popular series. For example, I sold the whole set of Batman 66 regular comic books easily, piece of cake, for over $100 a couple of months ago. So, and there weren't like a ton of books in the set either. So this is what's called a trade paperback. So you can see the spine here is a bit thicker, and it basically collects a bunch of stories into this one book. And just this one book alone, for example, when it was originally published, it was $14.99, and so now it's out of print. So I haven't checked the comps on it, but it might go for around that or more now. Again, very easy to ship. You just slip it into one of those comic bags and boards that I showed you, tape it up, and it'll go out. It's probably still go out under first-class mail. So Batman 66, keep that in mind. Great, great, great series, because people love that one because it brings them back nostalgically to the 1966 Batman series with Adam West and Burt Ward. I loved watching that growing up as a kid, and so that's my favorite Batman-related title and series is Batman 66. Another thing that I sell a ton of are these Treasury edition books. Now, a lot of comic collectors kind of frown on Treasury books because of the size of them. They're about 11 inches by 15, so they're these huge books. But I love them. I think they're just amazing. And so, pick them up. Some of them are worth over $100. Other ones are worth, $10, $15. I just sold one tonight. It was a Spider-Man one for, $20, so $22. And so, there's bigger envelopes you could buy to put these in, and where you could find these Treasury books and put them in there. So I highly recommend picking up Treasury books as long as they're in good condition. If you see that the covers are severely damaged, and a lot of them they're really wrinkled, the spines are ripped off and that sort of stuff, you don't want to get those kind of books. They're generally not going to be worth much. So stay away from those. But if you see that they're in good shape like that one, you would want to pick those up. Okay. Some other things that I found. Now, this has absolutely zero to do with comic books, but if you're into music, you might remember the band Poison. And so these are just some old 1990s, probably in the early 1990s kind of cards that, you know, they're 8x10 glossy photos of Poison, in addition to an old edition of Poison Fan Club newsletter. So, you know, this is the kind of thing where you could try to sell them individually, or you could try to lot them together. I'm not sure quite exactly what I'll do with them, but I am definitely sure with the condition and the glossiness of those books and these just being old, and I did look at some completed sales data on them, that, you know, I'll be able to probably get like 10, 20 bucks out of those as well. Again, very super easy to ship. Now what I'm going to shift to are posters, and this is really what I bought the bulk of, were posters. They're not all comic book posters, but they're pop culture related posters, and some are comic related, and I want to show you those as well. And I want to basically again show you some important characters that you should be out on the lookout for, or important themes that you should be on the lookout for if you see them. So this one is a rolled up one, and it's a Spider-Man one, and it's cool because it has a lot of the old Spider-Man characters on it. This big fat guy here, his name is King. Let's see if I can get it in there. His name is Kingpin. This one here, we've got the lizard, we've got the rhino, we've got Dr. Octopus over here. This character here is a Venom-like character. So what you're looking for these posters, on the bottom of them, you're going to see the date is printed on them. That's what you're looking for. And what I generally look for with these is, for the most part, I'm looking for things that are in the 1980s or earlier. Some in the 1990s I'll get. Now this one is just in the very beginning of the 90s, so it is literally 1990. But this one is still cool to pick up, even though it's 1990s, which are generally not as valuable as the ones from the 80s and the 70s, because it has Spider-Man on it, because it's in great glossy condition, and because it has all those villains on it, and because it's so big. Very easy sale. Easy. The way I ship these are in poster tubes, and you could pick them up for a couple of bucks in Staples, or you'll see them at garage sales and estate sales sometimes. So if you see them, just pick them up, because you know, it's just easy for you then to just ship items like posters out when you get them. Let's see, some other things related to posters that I found. You know, I showed you Star Wars. Star Trek is another thing that I do really well in. And this is you know, see, this is a nice vintage Star Wars posters. Now, most of the posters I bought are foldable ones, not the roll-up one. I like the fold-up ones better, actually, because they're just much easier to ship. I could just, again, fold it up, put it in that bag and board, and then just it goes right off in a regular folder. So you got those right here. And this one, you can see this is the nice vintage age I'm talking about here. Nice, anything in the 80s like that, 1983. In this kind of condition, I mean, it's just, you know, easy money. I mean, I'm telling you, these are all, you know, going to be, you know, at minimum, they're going to be $15, $20 posters. I just sold one tonight from a previous comic book poster haul that I made. So they just go out and sell all the time. Now, some of these I bought in big lots. Okay, so this one, I don't know exactly how many of these. This is the same exact poster in here. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them in here. And this is one that, you know, is not going to have the most common characters that you're used to, like the Spider-Mans and the Batmans. These are going to have some more offbeat characters that, unless you really know comic books, these people are not going to be familiar to you. But I want to kind of clue you in on them, because some of these are ones that you want to look for. And if you could find them on the same poster, like I did with this poster, and I have a whole bunch of them, really cool. So you could see this one, and generally posters like this, which have like a whole universe of characters on them, are generally pretty popular. On this one, this is from a comic company called Comico, not around anymore, but they used to produce comic books with different characters in them. And the ones that you want to be on the lookout for is this one here. His name's Grendel. He kind of looks like the character Venom, who's like a Spider-Man character with a black suit on. He kind of looks like him, so that easy to identify. Comic books with Grendel could go for hundreds of dollars easily. This one here you want to look for, which is Speed Racer, very, very popular. And this guy here, easily identified, always wearing his black shirt, his blue jeans, and his blonde hair. His name is Johnny Quest. Also super, super popular. So I picked these up because if you could find a poster that has all these characters plus then some, and it's also a big glossy poster and it's in great shape, pick it up. I'll put it up online. I'll have the other ones ready to go. Once it sells, then all I have to do again is hit sell similar and the next one's up. So I love buying these in lots like this because I don't, one of the things you're doing with eBay is when you're making a sale, you're trying to now, you got to replace that item. Well, normally if it's a fresh item that you sourced, you've got to prep it, you got to take new pictures and get it up. I don't have to do that with this. Just boom, sell similar, next one's up, ready to go. Some other stacks that I got, this one here, let me show you this one. This again is a little bit offbeat in terms of a character that if you don't follow comic books, you probably will not know and may not recognize. This company is known as Warp Graphics, and this character here is Cutter from the ElfQuest series. Very, very popular series with a certain segment of the comic book population. Has a very, very strong cult following. In fact, when I got back into eBay selling comic books again, one of the first things that I purchased was a big set of thick ElfQuest books that were literally signed by the authors and made a lot of money on it. And did really well. So they do have a strong collector's base, and so if you could find a poster like this that literally has the year 1985 on it and it has this character, I mean, again, the key here that you're hitting is that nostalgia base. I mean, these people who are in the 80s, from the they grew up in the 1980s, so now they're 40 years old, and they want something in their man cave or in their house or in their room to remind them of that time period. So nostalgia is key. Remember that. Nostalgia sells. And so you're looking for that's why I always look for those things from the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, anything that has those dates on it. Always look for those things. 90s isn't quite considered vintage yet. Now this is another, you can see there's just a big stack of these in here. They're all the same poster. This one there's literally no comps on because nobody has this poster up. And so I am pretty confident that this one's going to sell really well because it has some famous characters in it from the DC universe. Okay, for example, this person here is called Hawkman. You could see here we have Wonder Woman. This one here is Green Lantern. So there's Superman there, for example. And this one, in terms of a date, sometimes the date is on the side. So right here, this date is let's see if I can get it up there for you to see that. That's 1984. So again, nobody has this one up. It hasn't been on the market in the last 60 days. So you could see why on earth would I want to go on eBay right now and list 10 of these posters all at once? If I do that, I've completely devalued my product. Don't do that. Again, I'm just putting up one of these and I have all these kind of stacked and ready to go once that one sells. Okay, that will help me maximize my value off of each one of those posters individually. All right, now another one that I bought in bulk, and so you can see each of these ones I buy in bulk, I just kind of keep them in like a bag just to kind of keep them safe. And I'll do that with the individual ones later, but this one here is a DC comic book called Infinity. These characters are not famous. They're not well known at all. This one here kind of looks like the character to Scarlet Witch, but anyway, these are not famous characters, but some of these series, these kind of lesser known series like this, do have a small following that still look for the posters and want to put them up, you know, in their house. And so I looked up the comps on these, and that's the reason why I picked it up. You do want to check out the comps if you can find them. And so one of these did sell recently, for example, for like, you know, again, somewhere between, you know, $10, $15, $20, something like that. So I picked up the whole stack of them. Show you some other things. This character you may have seen before. He definitely does have a cult following. I used to read this comic book all the time when I was a kid. It's more of an adult-oriented book, though, and so I don't know exactly why I was reading it when I was a kid, except because he looks like a cool monster, and his name is Swamp Thing, and he basically was formed by being tossed into a swamp that had all these toxic chemicals in it, and it gave him this kind of these, you know, he basically became half man and half vegetable. Another reason I don't really know why I like it, because I don't really like vegetables too much. But anyway, this one is probably the cheapest of the posters that I found. It's probably like an $11, $12 poster. But I picked up, I think, 2 of them here, and, you know, I'll list them, and they'll easily sell. You know, again, I know from the completed sales, and I just know from that character, Swamp Thing. Again, he's a green, swampy-looking character. In fact, people call him Swampy. Sells well. A couple other things here now that are not really related to comic books. This is just a regular Magic the Gathering poster. So anything Magic the Gathering usually sells really well. It's a role-playing card game, so people like to, you know, decorate their playing areas with these types of posters. So I just picked one of those up. Anything at all related to zombies, because of The Walking Dead, is super popular. It doesn't literally have to have The Walking Dead on it. It doesn't have to say Walking Dead. Like something like this, Surviving a Zombie Outbreak, and all the steps of the things you should do if the zombies attack. People love to take this, frame it, you know, put it in their house. There's no comp for this. So ones that don't have comps and they're on a popular theme, I just know zombies sell well. So I don't need to see that this exact poster has sold. You can't be that rigid with comps. Okay. You also have to just know the topic area and the themes. So a couple things about this. Zombie poster. It's got a little blood, it's got a little gore on it. People like that sort of stuff. You know, it's going to hit right into your horror fans who are going to like that stuff. Easy sale. Okay. This one here, I talked about zombies and I talked about Walking Dead. This poster right now, there is one up online. The cheapest you can find it currently online, it's considered a pretty rare poster, is about $65, and this is a Walking Dead poster for the, and I don't want to rip this, so I'm just going to be real careful. You do have to be careful not to rip them when you open them. This is The Walking Dead, and it celebrates the comic book, and it's the for the 75th issue. You can see there right down below. Let's see if I bring that up there. 75 right there by my thumb. So that one there, again, should sell really well. This is like an example of one of those exception items that should sell for, you know, well over the $20 price range. Another one that I found that was good. Now, this one, I'm going to show you this. There is no nudity in this. It is a little racy, but there literally is not any nudity in it. But these kind of, there is an adult, basically, an adult audience out there for more kind of a, well, we say it's mature, but the women who are watching this are probably going to say it's very immature. But there are these characters, these female characters that are basically very kind of seductive looking ones. You can see this one's called Stripperella. I know a lot of you out there probably rolling your eyes right now at it, but the thing is that it sells, it makes money. For example, there's a series that I just purchased recently called Cave Woman. And it's along a similar theme, you know, she's kind of scantily clad and cave woman sort of thing, and, you know, seductive looking and everything. But she sells so well. So something like this is going to just be an easy sale for someone, some guy who wants it in his garage or whatever. You know, someone will spend, believe it or not, someone will spend like $20 on that poster. So it's not even a full poster. It's just more like a big card that opens up. Now I'm going to tell you, of all the things that I bought, and you've probably seen some things so far that look pretty cool, like the bookmarks and stuff, but to me, this is the one that when I saw it and I opened it up, it just blew my mind. Now, just to so you understand, when I'm in this room, I mean, stuff I'm buying, I'm literally pulling stuff that's buried under boxes on the floor and saving them, okay? Because these things are going to get damaged kind of the way they were stored. But this one I really love. And the reason why I love it is because, again, it goes back to the 1980s for me, so it has nostalgic value for me. I have multiple of them in this bag. It's huge. The color is really awesome, and it's along the lines of a theme that I really personally enjoy. I grew up reading a lot of Dragonlance books. Now, this isn't Dragonlance, but it's related to it. It's from Dungeons and Dragons series, and it's really cool because look at this. It's just amazing. Advertises a TV show, a Saturday morning cartoon coming on CBS, and you can see right on the bottom there saying coming to CBS Saturday mornings. You know, here, let me just kind of get this up a little bit more for you. And it tells the time, 9:30 a.m. And another reason I love this, because, you know, back in the day when they had real cartoons in the morning, on Saturday morning cartoons, the guys and the girls out there who used to wake up, you know, who are in your 40s now, who used to watch the Saturday morning cartoons, you could relate to what I'm talking about. That's when cartoons were awesome. That's when cartoons were cool. So this really throws me back, and I know it's going to throw a lot of people back too, who are going to love to get their hands on a poster like this. So I'm real excited about this one. Tempted to keep one for myself, but I generally don't do that sort of thing, so I probably won't. But you know, I've got several of them, so I'm definitely gonna, you know, sell a couple of these for sure. Now this one, it just really also blows my mind and is just amazing to me. There's no comps on it. I've never seen one sold, but I might actually put this one up first because I think it's probably my most valuable piece of anything I have. Probably even worth more than the Star Wars items that I have there. There's a show on TV called Comic Book Men. It is super, super popular. It's about these guys who live in New Jersey and they own a comic book store. Some of them are obviously very involved in the comic book industry, and they have a show, again, called Comic Book Men, and it's super popular. And this poster is a poster that is advertising the premiere of the show. Now again, I've got to be careful with this so that I do not rip it when I open it up. So hold on a second. Let me just get this open here. All right, here we go. So let me, this here. I mean, it's huge, and it's advertising the show Comic Book Man, and you can see on the bottom, it's talking about the premiere of the show. So, I mean, I'm thinking probably $100 for the poster. And, you know, I don't know. It might even be more than that. It might be less than that. I'm not sure. But that's probably a starting point for that one. That is Comic Book Men, super popular. So that one I'm going to just put to the side, and I'll fold that one up later just to make sure it doesn't get damaged. Another one, and we just have a few more to go here. This one is also throws me back to my childhood because I used to read these. These are basically Star comic books, which was an offshoot of Marvel Comics. And what they did is they basically took like the kids' Saturday morning cartoons like Heathcliff and you know, Fraggle Rock and Strawberry Shortcake. Now I didn't read Strawberry Shortcake, but I did read this character here, which was Peter Porker Spider-Ham. So he's basically a pig who dressed up like Spider-Man, and that's why they call him Peter Porker instead of Peter Parker. And so it cracks me up when I see anything with Peter Porker on it because it just reminds me of it. And a lot of other kids are gonna, you know, the boys are gonna remember the Heathcliff and the Peter Porker, and then there's the Ewoks. So you've got a Star Wars item on here too, and you saw earlier I had an Ewok bookmark. And some of the girls are gonna remember some of these things like Get Along Gang or again, Strawberry Shortcake, that sort of stuff. So this is a cool poster, and I'm looking forward to putting this one up. Again, the bigger, usually the better in terms of the price you're going to get on it. So I'm not sure exactly what it will go for, but, you know, I'm hoping for like, again, maybe 20 bucks for this one. So we'll see. I will tell you, by the way, how much I paid for all this in just a few moments. Getting towards the end. Let's see here. This is another big one. This one's pretty huge. This is Atlantis. This is from, again, the reason why I picked it up, it's big, I like the colors, and it still hits the 1980s. It's the late 1980s, it's 1989, but it hits it just has a lot of different comic book covers that people who collected during that time frame, like myself, are very familiar with. And you could just see, just based on the comics there, Silver Surfer, Iron Man, Avengers, that sort of thing, just very popular. And basically it talks about a story which was called Atlantis Attacks, and basically the story thread kind of went through all these different books. So it's cool for a collector to have a poster that has all those different titles and all those different covers all in one place to see. All right, a few more things here. Let's see here. This one here, these are just going to be kind of a little bit more obscure pieces, nothing super exciting, so I'll go through them pretty fast. But I picked them up because I did look the comps up, and they have sold before. This is a character called Vigilante, probably like, again, $12, $13, maybe $15 poster. This one here is one called, let's see which one this one is again. This one is Grimjack. I knew to look him up. He has a little cult following, this guy. So, anytime I see things with him, I tend to, pick it up if I get it at a good price. And I think we got two more things to look at here. This one is Blue Devil. Not a very popular character, but has sold recently. So just because it sold recently, I picked it up because, just did a little research on it and saw that it had sold. And this one here is a black and white for Doctor Strange. You've probably heard of Doctor Strange in the movies lately, recently. And this is a pullout from a different comic book. But just the pullout alone is valuable and should sell. Somebody told me that this recently sold for around $89. Now, I don't know if that's true. And I kind of doubt it, but regardless, it's still going to be an easy sale because the person who drew it is a famous artist, and it's Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange is very popular. So that pretty much sums up everything I found. Now, in terms of what I paid for it, I paid $96 for everything that you just saw. Now, remember, some of these items individually could sell for that much, like the Comic Book Man poster, or maybe, for example, this set of bookmarks. I'm not sure. But at a very, very conservative estimate, I would say that in terms of total value that's here is somewhere between $750 and $1,000. Now that's gross, that doesn't take into account shipping, but remember, shipping is going to be low for every single one of these items. We're talking, for almost everything you see here is going to cost around $2.66 to ship. So, maybe some will cross into the $3 threshold. So it's not going to be a lot. I'm saying in terms of total fees and everything, probably $100, $150 in total fees and stuff like that. So now on a maybe best case scenario, I mean, this is going to go for well over $1,000 total. Again, that's gross. We'll see. I don't know if if you follow me on the Facebook Reselling Resource Center, sometimes when I make good sales like this, and I'll point it out and I'll mention it and I'll show it. So you could see kind of what happens with these items, and then I point people back to the haul video, so I'll point people back to this video so you could see where I actually found the item. That could be a way you could kind of track this stuff to kind of see what ultimately happened with it. See if the stuff that I told you is going to pan out. Maybe it'll go better than I said. Sometimes that happens. Maybe it'll go lower than I said. Sometimes that happens as well. You just don't know until you ultimately put it up there. So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, it's time to pretty much wrap up this video because I actually one of the other reasons I did this, in addition to wanting to share it with you and just get it organized, is I want to start posting this stuff. So I want to start putting some of this stuff up. They're very easy to put up, by the way, because instead of items that have like 10 million different angles, by the way, that you have to take, you know, one of these small posters like this, for example, all you really have to do is take a picture of the front and a picture of the back and you're set. If it's a larger one, you might want to zoom in on different aspects, but it's super easy to do. You know, just lay it on a table, that's it. So everything about all this is easy. Anyway, so if you like this video, click the like button. If you ever see something out there in the wild and you pick it up because you recognize one of the characters from this video, please come back. Let me know that. Let me know that this helped you. I just like to know that these videos are helping people out and that you're learning things and hopefully profiting off of that stuff too. There's enough of this stuff out there for everybody. And so, you know, I hope to share that knowledge with you and hope you be successful. In addition, again, I've mentioned the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. The link is down below. Make sure you come over and join that. I'd love to see you there. Just submit a join request. If your profile looks good, you're in. And lastly, make sure you subscribe to this channel. That's very important. When I see more subscribers, that makes me make more content and more videos for you. So I like to see that subscriber count going up. So if you're coming back to these videos and you're watching them and you haven't hit that treasure chest up top or you haven't hit the subscribe button, please just take a second to do so. You'll get a notification when a new video comes out. And you know, it'll just help me out again, just knowing that that's a way that I could tell that people are enjoying the videos in addition to hitting the like button and commenting. Anyway, that's about it for now. I've got to do some listing. I hope you enjoyed the video. See y'all later. Bye.